Welcome back to Channel 10 News. Today we're talking about the Independent Catholic Podcast, a podcast that delves into topics that matter to our community of Catholics, both Roman and independent. I'm your host today, Lambert Mutton, and I'm thrilled to have you join us today on Informed Catholic, a Channel 10 special report. Today's episode is all about why it's crucial for people to listen to the Independent Catholic Podcast. We'll be discussing the unique perspectives and insights it offers, the importance of community, and how this podcast can help strengthen your faith and connection to the Catholic tradition. So, let's jump right in. To start off, let's talk about the unique perspectives and insights this podcast brings to your spiritual journey. As independent Catholics, we provide a fresh and thought-provoking approach to Catholic teachings, emphasizing liturgical conservatism, social justice, and personal growth. We dig deep into the fundamentals of our faith while exploring contemporary issues that affect us all. Because of this, the Independent Catholic Podcast has been called the black sheep of Catholicism, taking on topics you aren't likely to hear during a Sunday homily. But often it's the black sheep who is the one speaking the truth.
Absolutely. And what sets our podcast apart is that we are not bound by the rigid structures or hierarchies associated with the mainstream Roman Catholic Church. This allows us to openly discuss topics that may be considered too controversial or taboo. We strive for a more open-minded and progressive conversation, which resonates with many Catholics who are both independent of Rome and Roman Catholics searching for a spiritual home within our Catholic tradition, where they can freely express themselves.
That's right. The Independent Catholic Podcast fosters a sense of community where truth is valued. This podcast strongly believes in the power of knowledge and encourages listeners to have such discussions with their pastors and fellow parishioners as we each grow in the faith.
And that's a key aspect of our podcast, creating a safe and inclusive space for all individuals, regardless of their background, gender, or sexual orientation. The Independent Catholic Podcast aims to be a beacon of acceptance and love, just as Jesus taught us.
Exactly. We strive to bridge the gap between traditional Catholicism and the modern world, recognizing the ever-changing contexts we find ourselves in. Our discussions are designed to challenge your thinking, deepen your faith, and ultimately inspire you to live out the gospel teachings in your daily life. Now, let's talk about how listening to the Independent Catholic Podcast can strengthen your faith and connection to the Catholic faith. Our episodes cover a wide range of topics from scripture and theology to spirituality and personal growth.
Our podcast serves as a virtual faith community, especially for those who may not have access to physical Catholic churches. Through our conversations, listeners can find solace, inspiration, and a sense of belonging. We want to help people feel connected to their faith, regardless of their geographical location or personal circumstances.
And don't forget the practical aspects. We provide practical tools for spiritual growth, meditation, and prayer. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and resources needed to navigate life's challenges through a spiritual lens. The Independent Catholic Podcast believes that faith should be integrated into every aspect of one's life.
Absolutely. And let's not overlook the power of building a strong community. It's a space to build relationships and find companions on your spiritual journey. We encourage people to take what they learn and share it with fellow parishioners.
As we wrap up, I encourage each of you to give the Independent Catholic Podcast a try. Whether you're a lifelong Catholic, someone exploring the faith, or even someone who has felt disconnected from traditional Catholicism, we welcome you with open arms.
Remember, engaging with different perspectives is essential for personal growth and the deepening of one's faith. By listening to the Independent Catholic Podcast, you're embracing the diversity within our faith and choosing to learn from another perspective.
And if you find value in what we do, please share our podcast with your family, friends, and social networks. Together, we can create a supportive, inclusive, and empowering community. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Independent Catholic Podcast. We hope you found this episode enlightening and inspiring. Until next time, may you continue to embrace the independent spirit and live out your Catholic faith with love, compassion, and courage.